In this video, I will backtest the indicator that helps to avoid false signals in trading to see how good it is. This method was shared by FX Mentor US, so let's actually see what this is all about. For my backtesting, I will set my initial account size at $1,000 with 1 to 1.5 risk-reward ratio and 2% risk per trade. Okay, so the person who shared this strategy mentioned that it works perfectly well on the price of gold on a 5-minute time frame. Okay, now let's go over to our indicators and type in high and low. And now let's select this indicator named High and Low Optimized Trend Tracker by Keyvance Olds-Bilgic. This indicator looks very similar to the Ichimoku cloud, so let's access its settings, and in the star section let's disable the bar colors. And for our second indicator we're going to add Extreme Trend. Let's also change its settings. Okay, the strategy is ready, now let's understand the whole concept behind it. So the main idea behind this method is to only take trades when the price action is outside of this cloud. So this indicator is basically a filter that eliminates fake signals. Notice when the price action is moving sideways, it does not usually exceed the cloud. This means that all the signals issued by the extreme trend indicator inside the cloud are not valid. Also notice that when the price action is in an uptrend, it's usually above the cloud. A strong trend is usually followed by a consolidation, and these are the times when we do not want to be entering the market because there is indecision going on. And as soon as the price action starts moving in a downtrend, it's usually below the cloud. For our trade entries, we're going to be using both of these indicators. And now let me show you the conditions for entering a long trade. So for a long signal to be valid, the price action must either break above the cloud, or the extreme trend indicator has to issue a new bullish signal while the price action is being above the cloud. Our stop loss will be set at the recent swing low, and we're going to be targeting 1.5 times the risk. Okay, here's another example. So we see the price action is moving above the cloud, and the extreme trend indicator printed a blue triangle below the price. All the conditions are met, so we can safely enter a long position. Also notice how many losing trades we avoided during this consolidation stage. None of these buy and sell signals are confirmed. For short positions though, the price action must either break below the cloud, or the extreme trend indicator has to issue a bearish signal while the price action is being below the cloud. Our stop loss will be set at the recent highest price, and we're going to be targeting 1.5 times the risk. Here's another example for a valid short entry. First of all, we see that the price action is moving below the cloud, and the X-trend indicator printed a new orange triangle above the price action. So as we can see, the strategy is very simple. However, I do have a feeling that its win rate will be lower than 50%, and it's mainly because we have in all these bad entries. We see sometimes the price is moving extremely choppy. Obviously, every time it breaks above or below the cloud, this is an entry. So as we can see, these entries are not ideal at all. By the way, in the second part of this video, I will try to improve this strategy so that it reaches its maximum potential, so stay tuned for that. Okay, now let's do our backtesting to see how effective these indicators are. Alright, the backtesting is finished, and as we can see, the win rate for the strategy is only 45%, and we increased our account size by 24.48%, which is definitely below average, especially for scalping. If we scroll down, we can see that the equity curve is extremely inconsistent. The profit factor is only 1.23, and we had 5 consecutive wins against 9 consecutive losses. Also notice the maximum drawdown for the strategy. It's above 20%, which tells us that the strategy is quite risky. So ideally for scalping, we're looking for the strategy that would give us the profit factor of minimum 3, and the maximum drawdown shouldn't exceed 10%. To achieve those numbers, our win rate must be at least 65%. So now let's actually try to improve the strategy with the goal to reach those numbers. So after trying multiple indicators, I finally came up with a setup. As you can probably notice, I got rid of that extreme trend indicator. Instead, I added the Diddy index. By the way, I also changed the inputs. You can find this indicator by typing in Diddy. It's going to be this one by Everget. I also added a third indicator, which is called BA Historical Volatility Percentile with SMA. The settings are on default, and the high and low indicator settings are the same. So here are the rules for entering a short position. First, the price action must be closed below the cloud. Second, the Diddy index must print a red circle. Third, the volatility bar must be above the SMA. The color of the bar does not matter. A stop loss can either be set at the recent swing high or at one of these two lines, depending on which one of these price levels are closer to the entry price. In this example, we can see that the recent swing high is the closest price. The take profit target for this strategy will stay the same. If one of these conditions is not met at the time the Diddy index prints a red circle, we're simply going to be waiting for a new signal. By the way, in this strategy, we're not going to be considering a breakout out of the cloud as a valid entry. Okay, let me give you one more example. Here we see the price action is moving below the cloud. The Diddy index issued a sell signal, and the volatility in the market is pretty high. So we're going to place a sell order at the close of our trigger candlestick. Our stop loss will be set at the red line, and we're going to be targeting 1.5 times the risk. For long entries, the rules are exactly opposite. First, the price action must be moving above the cloud. Second, the Diddy index must print a new green circle, and the volatility bar must be above the SMA. And again, the color of the bar does not matter. Our stop loss can be placed either at the recent swing low or at one of these two lines, depending on which one of these price levels is closer to the entry price. In this case, we're going to place it at the blue line. I would also avoid taking any trades when the signal is issued on or after candlesticks like this. As we can see, these sharp moves are usually followed by a pullback. Okay, let me give you one more example. So we can see the price action is in the uptrend and it's above the cloud. The Diddy index issued a long signal and the volatility level is good. And the reason I added this volatility indicator to the chart is because we cannot entirely rely on this high and low indicator. We see even though the price action is moving sideways, it's still being outside of the cloud. So if we didn't have this volatility indicator in place, all the signals issued by the Diddy index at this time would be valid. Obviously, this is not acceptable. Okay, I hope you have understood the rules for this strategy. Now let's do our second backtesting and see if the results are any better. So the backtesting is finished, and as we can see, the results are pretty good. The win rate for the strategy is 67% and we increased our account size by 272.01%. The profit factor is 3.05 and we had 7 consecutive wins against 3 consecutive losses. And the maximum drawdown we had was 8.76%. So these numbers are basically telling us that the strategy is quite reliable and we can definitely use it for scalping. However, bear in mind that this is only the backtesting phase. You should definitely forward test this strategy with paper money before trading live. You can also try to improve the strategy by testing different entries based on the color of this volatility indicator. For example, you can try taking trades only when the volatility bar is colored in red. And if that doesn't work, you can try it with different colors. So the point I'm trying to make is that we should always aim for making the strategy better, even if such an improvement increases our win rate by only 8.5%, for example. Okay, my friends, thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it useful. By the way, if you want to see one of my best strategies on the channel, check out this video right here.